Hi, lovelies. How are you? So, really quickly, um, I just love how people try to separate things or try to use things to put the Bible down. Like, if what you believe in is the truth, why do you have to put the Bible down? Like, just stand on what you believe in, you know? And there's so many people that talk about, I'm a this, I'm a that, but they don't even know their own records. But God knows their records. And God knows that you ain't a real whatever you call yourself. And that's why He brought me to set the record straight with your own records. Okay? See if you could go verify this for yourself, since you've given yourself a title of that which you are not. But the London Bridge is falling down. Okay? It's just falling down all over the place. The illusion is not working anymore. So, those of you that like Egyptian history and you think that it outdates the Bible is laughable to somebody like me, because I'm like, okay, Egypt, as you know it, started after the flood. So all of the records that you talk about are after the flood. The Bible talks about people that existed before the flood, and it's those same people that survived the flood that created the Egypt that you speak on. Okay, so let's not use the Bible, but we're going to use what you call our records that prove the Bible is wrong. So, have you ever heard of a tablet by the name of Abydos? That's Abydos. The Abydos tablet. Well, within the tablets, because there are a few, there is one tablet that lists the first Pharaoh ever in existence as Adam. And the 20th is listed as Noah. It goes on to speak about Cain and Abel, and it shows the same order as Genesis 4 through 6. Speaking about Cain all the way down. Okay? Then it talks about Noah and Ham. But the other sons, Shem and Japheth, are ignored. And I giggled at this because when you have really researched and you understand the timelines and you understand who is who and what happened and how Ham stole the garments and then he passed them down to his son because he wanted his son to be the priest, when the priesthood went to Shem, and then they separated the land and used the oracles of God to tell who got what. Shem's portion was Egypt. It wasn't all of Africa, but that little portion that everybody likes to fight over, yeah, that belongs to me and my ancestors, Shem, okay, who is also known as Melchizedek, all right? And what happened was Ham's lineage did not abide by the oath that they took, and they took the land. Why? Because they knew how powerful that land portion was. They knew because they were Noah's children. So they knew that they could shape or use it to shape the rest of the future and what we now know as history. Okay? we know that Ham's line was in cahoots with the fallen ones because they discovered the writings of the fallen ones. We know that Ham's son's name is Cush, and then Cush's son's name is Nimrod. And I tell everyone, I say, listen, you cannot separate Greek from Rome, from Egypt, from Babylon and Sumer. Mesopotamia is Sumer. Okay? So when people are like, oh, well, I came across these documents and you know, this is, like, they just sound ignorant to, like, people like me. Like, you don't sound like you're educated. You sound like you're ignorant because you are. And even your so-called records are starting to show the lie. They're starting to show the lie. They've been and shown the lie, but we were in a place where the lie appeared as the truth, but we're not in that space anymore. Okay. So a while back, I talked about how there's this famous boat scene in Egyptian history. In the middle of the boat, there is a scarab or a beetle, and the beetle represents Adam. And then on either side, there are these survivors of the flood. Okay? Adam's body was taken on Noah's Ark. You can read about it in the book of Jasher, or the book of Jubilees, the book of Jubilees. You can read about it there. And several others, or the other sources have this information. But we'll see, it is the truth. When the ark landed and everybody got off, and then Noah built a vineyard, and the reason why he built a vineyard was because the wine was used in the priestly ritual in order to commune with God. Okay, so him and his wife, they drank, and they were in an altered state to commune with God. Ham went in, he stole the garments that God made for Adam and Eve, and that is why Noah cursed his son, because he already knew what Ham was going to do with the garments. He was going to use them to deceive, and he had taken his brother's place. However, when they casted lots, the Urim and the Thummim, for the dividing of the land, God affirmed that Shem was the priest through the portion of land that he gave him. Okay? And Noah had already instructed Shem that when, that there was going to come a time for him to take Adam's body and bury it, rebury it, because I think it's in the book of the Cave of the Treasures that Adam's body, Michael, shows how to care for the dead, because they had no idea. So Michael teaches Seth the funeral rites and all of that, and how to care for the body, perfume the body, and make sure that the body stays. Okay, so that came from God through his angel Michael down to Seth, and then passed on that way. So when everybody is out here screaming about Cush, and they're screaming about Nimrod and the Africanness of Egypt, What they fail to know is that the portion in which that they are arguing about, it does not belong to them. It never belonged to them. They did not build it. Everybody likes to act like they don't know who built the Pyramid of Giza, but I have told you, the Arab world has told you, there are official documents out there that tell you that Enoch is the builder of the Pyramid of Giza. And when you go into the Pyramid of Giza, there is a king's chamber and a queen's chamber. And there is a lot underneath. Okay? Now, in the king's chamber, they are starting to release information of things that they hid before. There is a symbol on the, what they like to call a sarcophagus. However, there was never a dead body that was found in that pyramid ever. The sarcophagus is the exact measurements of the Ark of the Covenant. Yeah, I said that. Yes. It's the exact measurements of the Ark of the Covenant. And written in the stone is a symbol that reads Alpha and Omega, the beginning and the end. Okay? Also, the dimensions of the room are the same dimensions as the Holy of Holies. Now, everybody likes to act like God's people and the Bible stole everything from Egypt. But that is not the truth. Egypt stole everything from God's people because it originally belonged to Shem. And before that, it was Enoch. Okay? Because Enoch built it to hide the knowledge that the angels had given him. The books, the many books, all of that. And it survived the flood. Okay? And I do believe that those books will come out eventually, because they're not going to be able to hide it much longer. Because even their own documents that they've released are starting to, highlight the lie. So, I talked about in some of my earlier videos how there's the tomb of Adam under the Sphinx. And how the Sphinx's face is Adam's face. I got that from one of my ancient biblical books. I don't even know if I could find it again, but I did a video on it, and I'll have to go and see if that video is on private or public. If it's on private, I'll make it public again. But I'm not the first person to say this. There are other people that have said this. And it makes sense, okay? Because if Enoch built the Pyramid of Giza, and he is known as Saurid, if you want to look that up, it's Saurid. Okay, he has many names, many names. And they love to do this because they like to make sure that they can hide the truth and control the truth and the narrative. So, Shem is my ancestor, and he is also known as Melchizedek. Okay? Of course, Abraham would share the tithes with his uncle Shem, because he went to live with his uncle when Nimrod was trying to kill him. And he learned from Noah and Shem. He inherited the priest's line from Noah and Shem. Okay? So Melchizedek moved Adam's body after the flood to a location that is unknown. I know that there are tombs, that, are of giant size in the Middle East. Because, in the Quran, they like to say that Adam was a giant. I don't know. That's on my list of places I need to go, because I need to go investigate. I need to go feel what it feels like in order for the Holy Spirit to give me 100% confirmation, that, oh yes, this is Adam's, burial place. I don't believe it is, though. So Adam's body was on the ark, as I said this, and it has been depicted in Egyptian art. Adam was the scarab on the boat with the 8 other flood survivors. And knowing that Egypt came after the flood, we know now that Ham, his son, was Cush. So he took over the land, and even though it belonged to Shem, and it belongs to Shem, they wrote the history, and they made themselves the gods, giving themselves credit as, you should listen to me because I survived from the pre-flood world. Okay? I survived from, the pre-flood world, and I am the one that is talking to the fallen angels and the Nephilims, and I'm the one that's translating this, and I'm the one that's in control of this, so you can't get it unless you go through me. And of course they seemed like they were different than those that came after, because they had lived in the pre-flood world. So it's not like, oh, these are gods of Egypt. No, anything that came after the flood is not, it's either Nephilim or it's, one of Ham's children running amok, okay? And then Greece took it, Rome took it, and, they changed the names to fit their narratives, but it's all the same, okay? And I love when God gives me this type of information, because it's going to be crickets from the Pharaoh clan, How are you a Pharaoh and you don't know this about the Pharaohs? Weren't you given access, through your Pharaoh initiation to the Abydos tablet? Or was that kept from you because the person that ran it, he didn't like the Bible? Go look into it and come back, okay? Anyways, I just laugh because everybody always loves to put the Bible down. So, we don't have to use the Bible in order for me to show you the Bible is true, okay? Because your own stuff talks about what's in my Bible. And you can say all you want, oh, well, Moses, he this, he that. Guess what? Moses took his shit back. Yes, I just cussed. Moses took his stuff back, okay? He took it back. Because if they were using the priest stuff from the pre-flood world that Enoch had left behind, it never belonged to Ham. Never. It always belonged to Shem. So Moses, being raised a Pharaoh was his birthright. Okay? So I don't see where the argument lies. Like, okay, Moses was who he was supposed to be. And after he got his stuff, he left. And then he went back and he got the rest of it and left. And Egypt hasn't been the same since. Hasn't been the same since. And all of you running around right now talking about you're a Pharaoh, I'll sit back and I'll wait. Do what you say your ancestors did. I triple dog dare you to build it again. Since you're so great and you're initiated, do it again. I dare you. We'll wait. Angel Wars. Later, guys. Love you.